to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we're going along if you're enjoying the content. If you don't know who I am, Sandra Bellamy, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. This one's out on Amazon. The link is down below. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com, the founder of Asexualise Academy. So welcome to tonight's episode. Lovely to have you here. Happy Ace Week. Happy Asexual Awareness Week. This is day 3. So on the first day, I talked about what is asexuality. Yesterday, unfortunately, I didn't do a live stream because I was mega busy creating all the video yesterday. If you saw the video yesterday, it's less than a minute long, but it took a long time to put that asexuality awareness video together. So if you haven't seen it, don't forget to check it out. It's called Sex Is Not What You Think. So I've had good feedback from it overall so far. So this is really, really good. So that's what I did. And then by the time I'd finished creating that video and publishing it and sharing it everywhere, I was a little bit tired and feeling a bit like I needed to rest. So yeah, so that's why I didn't actually do a live stream yesterday. So my bad for that. But today we are talking about what is the difference between sexual attraction, sexual desire, and arousal. So this is something that people often get confused with. They don't understand the difference between the three. And when I first came to asexuality and was learning about it, I didn't understand the difference either. I didn't get it. I didn't understand that sexual attraction, sexual desire, and arousal can all be separate. And eventually the penny dropped that the reason why I thought was heterosexual for most of my life, well, up until 2014, it was a lot of my life, half of my life, I should say, at least 2014, which is over half of my life. Yeah, so yeah, 2014 was when I first found out as asexual, and it was a while into my asexual journey that I finally understood how arousal was different to sexual attraction. And that's when the penny dropped as to why I thought I was heterosexual for so very long, because I thought arousal and sexual attraction were all the same thing. So sexual attraction is something that asexuals lack. So we don't get the need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse. And by that, I mean we don't look at someone and think, wow, I'd love to have sex with you. Wow, I'd love to jump your bones. Oh my God, I've got to have your body and have sex with it now. Do you know what I mean? So we don't think like that. That is sexual attraction. Sexual attraction is the need, urge, or want to have partnered sexual intercourse with a specific person or persons, right? You might see someone in the street, you think they're really good looking, you'd like to have sex with them, or the supermarket or TV or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And you'd actually like to have it in reality with that person. If the opportunity presented itself, you would go for it, right? So that is sexual attraction. Obviously, if you're in a relationship with someone, you could still experience sexual attraction with someone else, so you might not actually go for it. Oh, hi, Ray. Oh, it's all right. Sorry you're late. You probably didn't know I was on because it takes a few minutes for it to come through. So thank you so much. Lovely to see you here. Lovely to see everyone else that's watching. So yeah, so the sexual attraction is when you have the need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse, and you look at someone and you think, I want sex with that person. It could be one person or multiple people, or it could just be someone you don't know or someone you do know. So that is sexual attraction, when you want partnered sexual intercourse with a specific person or persons. One or more people, could be all at once. You think that about them, but it's likely when you're walking down the street you might think that, or obviously in a relationship you might think that. And this great need and urge and want inside you. So, okay, so that's sexual attraction. So what is sexual desire? What's the difference between sexual desire and sexual attraction? Sexual desire is the desire for sex in and of itself. So you desire the sex in and of itself, regardless of whether attraction's there or not. So obviously a lot of people have sexual desire and sexual attraction together. I personally, although I'm asexual, know that I could not have sexual attraction without sexual desire. And do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm sorry. I know that I can have sexual desire without sexual attraction, because I know I wouldn't want sex with someone who I didn't desire sexually. So it's kind of, but sexual desire is where you it can go hand in hand with sexual attraction. So like I said, for me, I'm not sexually attracted, but if I was, because I'm not into one night stands, because I cannot be with someone I'm not actually attracted to, I know that if I was a heterosexual, that sexual desire and sexual attraction would always be together for me. But sexual desire is when someone can desire just the sex. It doesn't matter who it's with. They really need the sex, however it comes, however they get it. Do you know what I mean? So when you, for example, might have been to a nightclub, or not as the case might be, and you overheard a person saying, like, it could be a guy or a girl saying, I just want to get laid tonight, right? They want to have sex. Sex is just such a big deal to them. They desire the sex, regardless of who it's with. You'll hear some guys even saying, oh, I had sex with her, she was so ugly, but I wanted the sex. I think it's disgusting they say that. And I don't see how they can really find a woman ugly if they're having sex with her. Personally, I don't. But that is the type of language and things they say sometimes when you go to clubs. I mean, luckily, the club I go to doesn't have people going around usually saying that type of thing. But I have been to clubs in the past where they did say that type of thing. There's one club specifically in my city where they're quite, you know, I didn't used to go there very often at all. I only been there 2 or 3 times. But yeah, it's something I really don't like. But you know, I do know there was at least one asexual in a group, and they decide sex despite having no sexual attraction towards someone whatsoever. So they were explaining their situation, that they really desire the sex. Some just have sex to fit in. That's true, Ray, as well. Absolutely true. So sexual desire. So this guy was explaining an asexual group. I really didn't understand it at the time, because I thought sexual attraction, sexual desire, and arousal were all the same thing. I didn't realise they were separate. I didn't get the concept of them being separate. It took me a long time to get my head around it. So this guy said in this asexual group, he says, although I'm asexual, I do desire sex, but I don't desire it with anyone. There's no one I actually want it with. I just desire the sex itself. And I think that must have been because he had a high sex drive. So what is arousal then? So arousal is when your bits down below get aroused, basically. So it's when you're aroused in the context of sexual stuff, is when your body is physically aroused. Like, for example, with me, I have high levels of arousal. So if I am kissing a guy, my parts down below, my private parts, they are tingling and warm and desiring more kissing. And when someone kisses me, who I'm highly aesthetically attracted to, I feel it in my body, and it makes me want to kiss more and more and more. It's very exciting. It's more exciting than sex ever was for me physically, to be perfectly honest with you. And it can release fluids and stuff even without actually intercourse. So you can get aroused with sexual intercourse. You can get aroused through foreplay, or you can get aroused in and of itself. Like, I can get aroused with no physical touching whatsoever. Now, it's very interesting in my Asexual Perspectives book, if you've never read it, because we cover all these topics in this book. I say we because it's me and 46 asexuals who are telling their personal story. And in this, we're talking about the difference between sexual desire, sexual attraction, and arousal. And so it's very interesting that one person in there thinks, believes that arousal is a physical thing, like when your genitalia is touched, for example. You get a physical response, which could be an arousal response, right? But I can get aroused with no one involved whatsoever, with just thinking about kissing. And that's it. Do you know what I mean? I have to think about any guy, think about anyone. I just think about the sensation of kissing. That's it. I'm well away. I just love kissing. What can I say? But I can't just kiss anyone. Has to be someone I'm highly, highly aesthetically attracted to. I just can't do it. I don't like facial hair on a guy either. That really puts me off kissing him. Really puts me off kissing him. So yeah. So, and some people asexuals talk about libido and sex drive, which is really along the same lines as arousal. But libido, sex drive, is when you have like arousal feelings or sexual feelings that you want to be relieved, but they're not aimed at anyone. So people in the asexual community talk about asexuals having a sex drive, but it isn't aimed at anyone. Whereas a heterosexual, for example, it would be aimed at a specific person, which would be sexual attraction. So this is how it differs. I personally don't like to say I have a sex drive because I don't have a drive for sex, but I do get aroused. Sometimes some sexual imagery, although I hate it and it makes me feel sick, can sometimes make my body feel aroused, which is very annoying for me because it's like I don't want my body to do that type of thing. So because I'm not interested in that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? It makes me feel ugh. But I prefer, and I don't go looking at that. I don't look at porn or anything like that. A lot of asexuals, well, I don't know how many, but quite a few asexuals, they still look at porn and stuff to masturbate to. Now, personally, I don't do anything like that, but I guess it works for some people because they get stimulated by the images. But I don't go look at stuff like that because I personally don't like porn or anything like that. I don't need to look at images to get aroused, but I can still get aroused in my body, like I said, for some images which I don't want to see. So, for example, in Twitter, sometimes naked women's bodies, and I hate naked women's bodies. I hate naked bodies full stop, but women's more than men's, and it makes me feel sick. But yet my body still has a biological, physical response. And so that's the difference with asexuals. We can still have biological, physical responses in our genitalia and bodies, yet it's not aimed at anyone, and it doesn't equate to the desire and need and want for sex, usually. Do you know what I mean? So this is why it's different. This is why the mindset is different. The physiology is different. Ray, I find porn degrading. That's just me. Oh, good on you, Ray. I can't stand porn. I don't like the idea of it. I hate it personally. The whole thing makes me feel sick. I do not watch nudity at all if I can help it in films, television. I don't like nudity in artwork and sculpture. And lots of asexuals say, oh, I used to be funny, they used to be funny about nudity until they stopped looking at it in a sexual way. Well, personally, I can't stop looking at the naked body in a sexual way. I don't think it's necessary for a person to see another person's body. If you're not doing anything sexual with it, why do you need to see it? Keep it clothed, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I don't get that. This is because I'm nudity repulsive. This is why I don't understand it, So, when people say, oh, well, I changed my mind. And I understand people can change their mind, and if I change my mind, it would be different, but I can't change my mind at the moment. I just don't see it like that. And sometimes I don't want to see it like that. I don't want to see it because I just, I mean, human beings, unfortunately, a lot of the time are born through procrastination. Yeah, we're born to procrastinate as well. Procreation, like I hear so many people say procreation. I mean, I personally am not born for that because I don't naturally want to have children. I don't feel like having kids ever. But as a general rule in society, like the human basic animal instinct is to have sex and mate. So therefore, to me, the nudity thing is always going to be associated with sex, usually. And therefore, to me, it's sexual. Therefore, to me, I can't not associate it with sex. I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for sex. Do you know what I mean? So there is some good use out of it, but do you know what I mean? I can't just see it as a sweet, innocent thing or a thing of beauty. I don't personally think the body's beautiful. I mean, I like my own body. I've got used to that now and I love it a lot, but that's took a long time for me to purposely train myself that way in front of a mirror. But in general, I don't love the woman's naked body. I don't see anything good about it. I don't like it. It repulses me. I just think it's horrible. Do you know what I mean? I just don't, other people's, I just don't feel comfortable looking at other women's naked bodies. I don't see the point. And I don't want to see guys really either. And I just don't see it as a thing of beauty or artwork. Artwork is like a Picasso painting to me, and I like Picasso. Do you know what I mean? His Cubism period, that to me is art, not a body. A body to me, like when people are born, you know, when people are in the womb, they're in a sack, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, yes, they're even covered inside their mum's tummy, what they should be, keep covered up. Do you know what I mean? I know it's kind of see-through, but I just don't have adverts always have half naked women just to sell coffee. Ha ha ha. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I did a coffee advert actually for I did marketing and media techniques in the leisure and tourism industry, and I did a coffee advert, and it never had any sex or half clothed women. It had it was really good. It's called Time of My Life Coffee. I absolutely love the coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I love the name. I always remember it. And I got this asked this woman if she'd go on the merry-go-round, and I filmed her on the merry-go-round. So basically she was having the time of her life with the coffee on the merry-go-round. And this is how my marketing campaign went. And I did 3 different campaigns all about time of your life coffee. I still think that's a really good name for coffee, Time of Your Life. And yeah, so that was one of the video shoots I did for it, and there was 2 others I did, and each time it was someone having the time of their life, you know, being happy and having a great time. So I always think, yeah, that would make a great coffee ad. I'm still into doing that, but I shouldn't give my coffee name away, should I? That's the first time I've given it away on this channel. I think it's a great name, and my marketing ideas. Someone will probably pick that up now and they'll nick it off me. But you heard it here first, so it's kind of copyrighted anyway, because as soon as you publish something like that, it is. But yeah, so it's, you know, I hope that's kind of like made it a bit more easier, because I thought I was heterosexual for absolute years, and I still didn't understand why I didn't understand why I wasn't, if you know what I mean. And yeah, it's because my body gets aroused, but I have no desire to have sex whatsoever. It doesn't link to anything to do with sexual attraction, or in my case, sexual desire, because I don't desire the sex itself. But for a lot of heterosexual people, they always go together usually. The sexual desire, the sexual attraction, and the arousal a lot of the time. Although, you know, the arousal and probably sexual attraction goes more together than the sexual desire, because like I said, I have heard some people, well, in my case, guys, because I overhear guys saying, I just want to get laid tonight. But there are some women who say that. There are some women who really need to have sex and they just want to go out, meet someone and have sex. It's not just men that are like that. I know some women who really love sex and they really want to get some, do you know what I mean? And so it's not just men that are like that, because I don't think that's fair just saying it's men like that. But obviously I overhear more men saying it because I guess I pay more attention to them, because I guess that I'm interested in guys more. So but yeah, so in my case, it's really, I guess, frustrating for heterosexuals to be with me, in the sense that my arousal will never ever lead me to sexual attraction. And that's what I try to explain to, if I date a heterosexual or think about it, I try to explain to them that it doesn't matter how much you make me aroused by kissing or whatever, it doesn't make me want to have sex with you. It just doesn't. And I think that's a hard thing for them to grasp, because usually in the past, if I've ever dated heterosexual guys, in the first 5 minutes of kissing me, they want sex. And they can't understand really why I don't. They're like, oh, it's so frustrating for them. But I don't need to. I mean, to be honest, kissing just releases everything anyway for me. Like any sexual feelings I have down below, it just releases all of that for me, kissing. I don't need anything else really. So Do you know what I mean? Kissing's just like I could do for hours and hours because I just like it so much, but I don't get that through sex. Do you know what I mean? Sex doesn't do anything for me. It's like I'd rather leave that. Thanks very much. It's not interesting for me. There's nothing to it. It's just boring. And obviously, yeah, I have had good sex where the guy made it more interesting, my last long-term ex, but that was because he was doing loads of foreplay and kissing rather than just having sex. Do you know what I mean? And so, and he tried different positions, and I got kind of used to him doing whatever. So, do you know what I mean? But I was with him a very long time, and he made me feel really good about my body and that. So I do think if you are an asexual person and you are deciding to have sex, I think you need to be with someone who really makes you feel good about your body and makes it like a playful, enjoyable experience, not just a stick it in you experience. Because stick it in your experience is just so boring. Because if you're not liking sex, you're like, what the hell is this? It's just boring. If you're doing more exploration stuff, if you're doing more sensual stuff, then it can be more interesting because, do you know what I mean? You're not just got the stick it in bit. But because asexuals think differently, really, when they're having sex, it's like we need to be stimulated in some other ways. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, just straightforward sex is boring to us because we don't desire the sex itself. Whereas, I've spoken sometimes to I've got friends that aren't I got friends that aren't asexual, and you know, one of my friends, what can you pronounce my name? I can pronounce your last name, Saji. That's your last name. There you go, Saji. Is that how you pronounce your last name, or is it Shaji? So yeah, I forgot what I was going to say now. You've asked me to do that, but I was talking about my friend. Oh yes, that's right. One of my sexual friends. She said to me, I said, "Oh, what woman wants you to do that? A guy, wants a guy to just stick it in her." But she did say, "Well, she likes a lot of the other stuff, like the sensual stuff, but there are times when she just wants to get on and have sex." So I suppose that is where it does vary. You know what I mean? Like an asexual person. Well, I suppose some asexuals might like the person to just get on with it because they're like, this is boring, just do it quickly. I've had enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, get it over and done with. But if you actually want to like the experience or enjoy it in any way, you kind of like don't want it stuck in you because it's just boring. It's just like, is that it? It wasn't even worth me doing anything for. In my personal experience, it's like it just wasn't worth it. It's just like that was so boring. I got nothing out of it. What's the point? It's just like, you know what I mean? So I think it depends where you're coming from. But obviously some asexuals would be just like, I'll get it over and done with quickly because I don't really want to do it. So it depends what angle you're coming from. But I think in general, most people don't just want to stick it in because it's just like boring, isn't it? It's just so boring. There are so many people that are just doing that type of sex, and it's just like, because there's a lot of asexuals that I come across, and they just say, sex is so boring. And I'm thinking, well, I agree with them, but there's one person that I did that with long-term ex that I wasn't actually bored in it. It was, it was good as far as how can I put it? It was good as far as it goes. But the rest of them was boring because it was like, there's nothing to it. There's just nothing to it. And so, I think if you're going to be an asexual that's going to engage in sex quite a lot, I think you really need to be having something that makes it enjoyable for you, even if it's just putting cream cake all over the person and licking it off, because asexuals tend to like cake and stuff more than sex. Do you know what I mean? Make it fun for you, so at least you're getting something out of it. Jeez, do you know what I mean? Because otherwise, what's the point? But I prefer never ever to have that ever again. I don't want sex again in my life. So, but it's interesting, isn't it, talking about this? Anyway, I think I'm going to conclude today's video. I'm just going to do a brief summary. So asexuality is a lack of sexual attraction. This means in general we don't get the need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse because we lack sexual attraction. So sexual attraction, yeah, means you get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse with a specific person or persons. And sexual desire is usually when you desire the sex itself, regardless. But so you could sexual desire, or you could desire sex, could be another way of putting it. But sexual desire is often when you desire the sex itself. And arousal is when you get aroused in your body, which can be a physical response to stimuli. So you could have your genitals touched, for example, or in rare cases, like myself, you can get aroused just thinking about things without actually touching anything, which apparently is not that common. So yeah, I hope you've understood this. Do you know what I mean? I mean, sexual desire and sexual attraction can be quite similar. I mean, some people can describe asexuality as having no sexual desire, and that would be true usually as well, because it would usually be that you don't desire sex, you don't have any sexual attraction, therefore you don't desire the sex. But it can be separate as well, as in sexual desire, you can just desire the sex itself regardless of whether it's with, you know what, in the case of sexuals, it'd be regardless of who it's with. In the case of asexuals, if anyone actually desired the sex, it wouldn't be aimed at anyone. There are people on the asexual spectrum called demisexuals, and these people do experience sexual attraction when a deep emotional bond has been formed. So I know one demisexual, and they have a very, very high sex drive, and they do desire sex in and of itself, but because they haven't got a strong emotional connection with a specific person, they have no one to do that with. So it's kind of like they float around with their sexual desire, but don't have it aimed at anyone, so therefore they don't actually end up having it. So, like I said, there are a few, very few asexuals that can have the actual sexual desire without any sexual attraction whatsoever. So it becomes very frustrating, very difficult for them. They don't kind of know what to do with their sexual desire without experiencing it with anyone. Because it's like, well, I can't just do it with anyone. Like, I can't just kiss anyone. They can't just have sex with anyone. So it does mean you're kind of restricted in a certain way. So anyway, I really hope I haven't confused you even more. I hope you understand this difference. If you've got any comments, queries, questions, please, please, please leave them in the comments below. I'll endeavour to answer them in between times. If you haven't seen any of the other Asexual Awareness Week videos so far, check out the one I did yesterday, which was kind of like a mini movie in and of itself in less than a minute, called Sex Is Not What You Think. And also watch the first video, which was all about what is asexuality. Happy Asexual Awareness Week, and I will see you on the next video or live stream. I am at my parents' tomorrow, so hopefully I'll still do a live stream when I get home, but I am going to their house predominantly all day, well, for lunch onwards. So hopefully I'll get to do a stream when I come back. Anyway, until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's, as I always say, and always stay ace, and I'll see you on the next video live stream. Take care. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that great big bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks to Ray and everyone else who's been watching, and I will see you on the next video or live stream. Take care. Have a good one. Don't forget to share and like this video. Bye.